Reports allege the Chemours Washington Works facility near Parkersburg has been discharging toxic forever chemicals into the Ohio River, exceeding federal limits in orders of magnitude. Now, a federal lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of West Virginia seeks to enforce state and federal regulations, forcing Chemours to stop the illegal discharge. The chemical, HFPODA, commonly known as Gen X, is a type of PFA-S linked to liver damage, developmental issues, and immune system issues. Newswatch reporter Danny Delante has been tracking this story and has the latest for you tonight.
Court filings allege Chemours has repeatedly exceeded its permit limits for HFPO-DA, a type of PFAS chemical. According to court documents, in November 2024, Chemours released 454% more than its legal limit at outlet 002 and 166% more than allowed at outlet 005. The tests that showed these results come directly from the Washington Works facility as part of their NPDES permit.
So these are really toxic chemicals, and they're toxic at very small concentrations. We're talking 10 parts per trillion. That's the level that EPA has set in the Safe Drinking Water Act, the maximum contaminant level that's allowed in the drinking water, the finished drinking water. And so our concern is that these chemicals are being released into the Ohio River at concentrations that are exceeding the allowable amounts in their permit.
Those discharges have traveled hundreds of miles downstream, where tests show increasing levels of the chemical in drinking water sources. Court documents also reveal Chemours' discharges have already impacted source water for public drinking water systems. Water runs downstream from the plant to major cities like Huntington, Louisville, and Cincinnati.
Yeah, there's approximately 5 million people that drink the waters that come from the Ohio River. It's putting a burden on the water utilities to have to then take that contaminant out of their source water to be able to provide safe water to their customers.
Chemours is supposed to limit its discharges under the Clean Water Act, but court documents show those limits have been exceeded repeatedly.
In the case of the Washington Works facility, they are exceeding their discharge limits for this contaminant, in orders of magnitude. So very chronic discharges over years that they have been exceeding their permit limits.
But even as violations continue, both state and federal regulators have failed to act.
Neither of our regulatory agencies have done any enforcement, and in the meantime, they are discharging these toxic chemicals into the Ohio River that are impacting people's drinking water supplies.
The EPA issued a consent order against Chemours in 2023, but that order was never finalized. And the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, which has the power to enforce permit violations, has not taken action.
It's not okay for this company to make billions in profits, but then not use that money to treat the water and instead release these toxic chemicals into the Ohio River that are impacting the public's health and that are making it a burden for the water utilities downstream to then have to filter out this chemical.
And even though Chemours admits its filtration system is inadequate, they've asked for 3 years to fix it. This would mean that for the next 3 years, levels of PFAS would enter the Ohio River without regulatory oversight. Chemours has not yet responded to our request for comment, and the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection was also contacted but has not reached back out. For Newswatch, I'm Danny Delante.
West Virginia Rivers Coalition is asking a federal judge to force Chemours to reduce its pollution immediately. Chemours has 2 weeks from February 25th to respond in court. You'll continue following this story as it develops.